Welcome back YouTube, KRoad17 here with a brand new F1 2019 career mode video. We're going to dive right into the action.
It's qualifying time at Spa, one of the mightiest tracks on the Formula One calendar. Long straights, up and downhill, Eau Rouge as well. This track isn't for the faint-hearted. And as we wait, poised for the start of what will hopefully be a thrilling qualifying, why don't you tell us, Anthony Davidson, about the things you can do to really get the most out of a car in a session like this?
Well, you're largely limited by the Parc Fermé regulations, of course. Back in the old days, pre-2004, you'd work on both a qualifying setup and a race setup over practice, and then swap them over after qualifying. So the race car was quite different at times to the qualifying car. Nowadays, though, you have to find a compromise that works for both. There are a few things that you can still adjust during the session, such as the differential, the brake bias, and the front wing angle, but that's about it. So it's more about optimizing what you do have and adapting your own style to suit the track conditions.
So adapting indeed, we're going to have to adapt really toughly because this track is daunting. It is a long track and there are a lot of twist turns and you have to get just right or you can lose so much time, being that I think it's like 3.5 miles long. But here we are setting our first lap of Q1. We're just about ready to cross the finish line. We're looking for a 48. We get a 48 out of that. That's not too bad. So we do make our way into Q2 with a great time, finishing second. But here we are as the clouds start to set in. Is rain gonna play a factor in the race? We'll have to wait and see as we come through and lock the tires just a bit. We're gonna make this final left-hander and cross the line for Q2. Let's see if we can make a Q3 appearance. We cross the line. Finishing 15th. Because I made a mistake, actually. If you look at those tires, I was the only one trying, and I mean trying, to get through to Q2 on a set of mediums. As everybody else went out on the softs, I stayed on the mediums. And that's us out of qualifying.
Who doesn't love the Belgian Grand Prix? It's the race, of course, that gave maiden pole positions to the Jordan and Force India teams, with Rubens Barrichello and Giancarlo Fisichella respectively. Jordan, of course, would then go on to better that here in 1998 with their first ever victory. And you can guarantee that something special will always happen at Spa-Francorchamps. But what that something is today is anybody's guess. Spa-Francorchamps then, a historic 19-corner circuit with a lap distance of 4.35 miles. There's over 100 metres of elevation change here, and with long stretches of the lap spent flat out, a good top speed will be vital for success. Anthony Davidson joins me here to talk about the recent changes to the driver lineup. Let's begin by discussing Daniel Ricciardo. They've just moved to Racing Point. How do you think they'll get on?
Well, I think this came as something of a surprise to most of us, but it could end up being a bit of a coup for the team. Getting a driver with experience higher up in the field might just be the boost they need, and I'm sure they'll be a big asset as the team continues to develop their car.
It's time to take a look at our starting grid for today's race. Sebastian Vettel will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from the multiple world champion. And it's Lewis Hamilton alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Bottas, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc and Gasly, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Grosjean and Kimi Raikkonen. Butler, Stroll, Nico Hülkenberg, Rose, Russell, Albon, Lucas Faber and Lando Norris. Sainz and Sergio Perez completes our grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
Okay, don't worry about making places into one, it's far too tight. Concentrate on a clean exit so you get good momentum down the Camel Straight.
So I missed it in a lot of the previous videos. We actually had our first driver transfer. So Daniel Ricciardo actually moves to Racing Point, whereas Perez moves to Reliant to, do a kind of just a mid-season driver's change. But here you go, making our strategy pick, getting ready for the 5 red lights of the Spa Grand Prix, the Belgian Grand Prix. 5 red lights are lit, and they are out. Let's go, go, go. Let's see if we get a better decent start. Oh no, we kind of shake the car a little bit to the right as Russell goes right past us on the set of softs. and we decided to opt for the softs as well for the strategy, getting a little loose out of that corner. Now we're heading up for what is probably the most iconic part of this track. Can we get through cleanly? We're going to go side by side with Russell, but we're going to hold it, and he backs out. So we actually hold it. We have Butler, as you guys can tell from our Germany race, is right next to us. He's going to give us a squeeze, and we're going to give him another look right back. Stroll's right ahead of us. I will have to mention that before heading into this race, we actually had one of our major engine upgrades, so I was looking forward to this race being a high horsepower track. So we do actually move past Stroll.
Okay, that's a good start. Keep it up.
Following Hulkenberg, we see Ricciardo in his brand new team of the Racing Point. Our teammate is sandwiched in between them. There's another car, I can't quite tell who that is. I believe that, oh, it's Grosjean. So the Haas are up there as well. We are currently P12, started P15, lap 1 of the Belgian Grand Prix. Can we make our move and get up into the points? We're going to follow on board here, I think, for the entirety of this lap, because it was a pretty good opening lap. But Hulkenberg is actually looking quite racy with my teammate. So is my teammate with Ricciardo and his brand new team. I don't feel like Ricciardo made the right move, as Racing Point is not the strongest team in my career mode. I will say that. They're, you know, kind of borderline right around our car. But I think for the chassis and aero side. But we're going to look for Hulkenberg. Hulkenberg really blocks us off. So we back off just a little bit. We're going to maybe send it up the inside. We do. And even next to our teammate, bump Ricciardo a little bit, but we make the move stick, and we are up into P10.
Okay, you're in the top 10.
Thanks for confirming that, Jeff. We are up to the top 10, but we already knew that. Here we are following Ricciardo in the Racing Point. I knew that my Alpha engine was going to have a lot more to say about this. So I think that we actually stay behind him. Don't want to try to, you know, force a move up this hill. It's very dangerous. But we're going to try to force a move on this back stretch. And as you guys can see, the Alpha engine doesn't let me down. We actually pull just past Ricciardo on that. We lock up the wheel a little bit, but that looks like we have made that stick. We are behind Magnussen now and Grosjean, the two Haas drivers, on lap 3. And this is going to get a little spicy. These two are fighting. As you guys can see in real life, these guys ultimately fight each other so much. They have so much contact, and I feel like that kind of maybe carried over to the game. But Magnussen gets DRS on Grosjean, so we stick behind Magnussen here, and we're gonna follow them through. Maybe head up the hill. We could maybe possibly make a move on Magnussen. We do. We get better traction as this car seems to get better traction. Who is going to be the brave one here? It's not going to be me. I actually back out. I'm not going to go up that hill side by side. I think Russell had the same idea on lap 1. But here we are, DRS on Magnussen. Magnussen cuts us off from the outside, so we're going to look for the inside. Switches it back and makes a double move. Magnussen goes to... blocks out. Here I get bumped, and I actually have to take the escape road. So I'm going to ultimately give Magnussen that position back because it was an illegal overtake. But wow, that was getting quite punchy with the two Haas drivers. So maybe this is going to carry on through the race. I feel like I have more pace than them, so I have to get around them if I want to catch anybody that is further up in P6. But we're going to stick with this fight because it is quite a fight. Myself and Magnussen really putting our guns out, seeing who can do what. Magnussen looks like he's a little slow, so I'm looking for the outside. And I back off. He does do a good job of blocking me there. Well, I wouldn't say block. He actually, holds his line. But can we do anything to make a move on Magnussen and maybe get past Grosjean in the meantime? We're going to have to wait and see, as this corner is kind of a tricky one. You don't want to take or catch the curve too much because you'll put yourself right into that wall on the left. Magnussen going a little bit slow. So we dive for the inside look. Magnussen goes to the outside. Tad bit of a bump.
Okay, good work. Great pass.
Jeff there just giving me a little bit of applause. Thank you, Jeff. I appreciate that. Now we have Grosjean ahead of us. Another Haas driver. Can we get around him? I feel like this DRS zone's pointless.
We're leading our teammate by 3.7 seconds.
Raikkonen might actually score points in this race, guys. We'll wait to see, but guys, we have a problem.
DRS will be offline. There's a fault with the rear wing system. Stay out, we can work on a fix remotely.
One of the tracks that you utilize DRS so much, and now ours is broken. I don't know how long it's going to stay broken, but we have Gasly right in front of us, and we do not have DRS, so we can't do anything.
Pit window open, let's box this lap.
So let's see if we can do this mano-y-mano without DRS. The old school way, the classic ways, you guys know me.
Kimmy's in the pits, Kimmy in the pits.
Teammate in the pits, we are following Gasly without DRS, mind you. We're going to have to do this the old classic way, up the hill, and this is where it gets really spicy, guys. Yes, I get a track exceeding warning, but Gasly goes for the outside to block me, so I have to dive for the inside, and look at the power between the Alpha engine and the Red Bull engine so far this season. The Red Bulls are just nowhere when it comes to straight line speed. I mean, they're everywhere when it comes to, you know, downforce, chassis, aero. But that being said, we're going to dive into the pits, and this is probably the most hysterical pit entrance you guys will ever see. I slowed down so early, and it's I mean, come on, it's funny. Make fun of me in the comments, do it. That was probably the worst pit entrance I've ever had in my life. But we dive for the pits anyways. Can we get out ahead of Red Bull? We do. Gasly still behind us as we make our exit. So out of the pits we go, and this is one of the hardest pit exits, I think, in the game. It's so sharp, and it's a right-hander, but we get out ahead of Gasly. We have a couple cars that are not too far behind. I think it's a racing point. But Gasly looking pretty racy here. He's thinking about a move up the hill. So I had to kind of give him a little persuasion to say, no, mate, you don't want to do that. You don't want to go that way. But here we go. Gasly will have DRS. And I actually have nothing to fight him with, so we're just going to kind of let him pass. I'm not going to push the issue too much as we follow through the next corner. It goes a little bit slow, so I have to kind of brake check myself. But here we are again, and we have a Haas behind us of Grosjean, so we're back on board following Gasly. We do have our DRS back. Thankfully, it was fixed. I think it was fixed in the pits, so we're going to go for the inside look this time. We're not going to let him second guess which way we're going. We're just going to sail past as best as we can. Coming up through here. Make the move stick. Looks like we have that done. Gasly in our rearview mirror. Verstappen, his teammate, is now our next target. We are up to P6 on lap 10. Can we go for anything more as far as maybe a top 5, maybe a top 4? You never know. I'm going to push this car, but I want to ultimately take care of this car the best I can. But we're going to pop on board here, lap 16, and it happens again.
Caution, caution. Virtual safety car deployed. Slow down and maintain a positive delta. Virtual safety car is deployed. Drop your speed, our delta is too low and we risk a penalty. Slow your pace immediately.
Again, guys, I don't know what's wrong with Ferrari in my career mode. But, you know, I mean, let's just jump back and take a look here. Sebastian seems to be fine. You know, nothing's wrong. And I think ultimately the motor gives out. He blows the motor, he blows the turbo. I have no idea. But it seems like Ferrari's engines are made of ramen noodles. Or, I mean, shoelaces in this, you know, career. But it's just bad. But there you guys have it. Again, for I don't know how many times. I'm actually going to take a look at it later and show you guys. But Sebastian Vettel is out of this Grand Prix.
Virtual safety car is ending. Maintain your pace until the green flag. VSC ending. Wait for green.
So virtual safety car about to end. We have Bottas right behind us. As you guys watched our Austria Grand Prix, we have had quite the time battling each other on track.
Green flag.
So we're going to do our best and keep him behind us. And I will say this was a task. His car was a lot faster than this Alpha, and it was a struggle to keep him behind. I had to try to utilize my traction out of corners as best as I could. That way, come this hill, come the backstretch, we were pushing as much as we could. As you can see, I actually do lift off just a bit. I was unsure of the car. I was unsure of my setup, if I could get it up El Rouge, you know, proper without, you know, dumping it into the wall. But you can see behind us, Bottas, an amazing tow down that backstretch off our car. Can we keep him behind us for the remainder of the GP? It is going to be quite a fight. Here we are, lap 20, only 2 laps to go. Bottas still behind us. We have not caught Verstappen much, I will say that. Just outside the podium positions, Bottas, DRS is going to make a move, or look for a move at least. Here he goes, he's going to go on the inside. I didn't want to fight him too much and cause us both to crash. He locks up really heavily on the left side and makes us brake check ourselves to keep from running into him.
Okay, keep on him. He might make a mistake.
But as Jeff says, keep on him. He might make a mistake, as we do. We lock the tires up just like he did. So we're going to try to stay with Bottas and fight him as best as we can. We do want the points for Alpha. Fourth is 12 points. Can we keep up with him? You can see here, the last lap of the Grand Prix, he's actually pulled a little bit of a gap ahead of us. Can we catch up to him? This corner I felt was my best chance. If I could gain a lot of toe off of him, pull up behind him and maybe make a nice inside move on that hairpin right before. But his teammate, Lewis Hamilton, wins the Grand Prix, so there's a lot of pressure on Bottas to do a good job here and finish higher than me. As you can see, we're nowhere near pulling a toe off of him and making a move. So it looks like today at the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa, we're going to have to settle for 5th. And 5th is not that bad of a finishing position, seeing that we started P15.
Great drive, great drive. We're really happy with that performance.
And Mercedes have pulled off a great victory here today. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
Well, I honestly feel it was down to the driver and car today. I mean, we can talk driver skill all day, but if you don't have a solid team to back that, you're never going to get anywhere. When you hit that sweet spot of having both an excellent driver and an incredible car, that's when you see results like those we witnessed today.
And I can see the drivers starting to approach the podium for the victory celebrations. A real team victory today. Everybody played their part. Congratulations then to Mercedes, your race winners today. So, let's review the drivers' standings. It's a great result for Lewis Hamilton, who moves further ahead at the top of the table. Some amazing talent out on the track today, but Anthony, who would you pick as your driver of the day?
Well, you can't fault anything that Sergio Perez did out on the track today. He drove flawlessly, making him an easy pick.
Let's move on to the constructors. Mercedes continue to extend their lead. It was also a strong Grand Prix from Haas F1 this weekend. Fantastic work from the American team to move themselves further up the table. And with that, we wrap up another weekend of motorsport. But with more races lined up, be sure to join us when we come back with more Formula One.
So there you guys have it, the Belgian Grand Prix. And look, Kimi finished in the points, but here we are, still 7th, 93 points in the Drivers' Championship. Still behind Gasly. Like I said, it's going to be a challenge to get ahead of the Red Bulls. We're basically best of the rest behind the Ferraris, the Mercedes, and the Red Bulls. Kimi has stayed 13th with 10 points. So, I mean, maybe towards the end of the season, with our car improving, we can push for a Constructors' Championship. Not this season, but further seasons. And get our teammate up there on the podium as well. But we're going to dive right into the post-race interview.
Good day today. Let's have your take on it. Some excellent overtaking moves from your former teammate today. Did he learn some of them from you?
I didn't see him on track, but it's more the other way around. He taught me a lot when we were in F2 together as teammates.
You were cutting your way through the field during the race.
I had to give it to the engine department here, and when it comes to raw horsepower, I didn't think anybody could compete with us.
It's safe to say you're smashing everyone's expectations, isn't it?
Alfa Romeo? Yes, Alfa Romeo.
It was more like Dodgems than Formula One today, wasn't it?
I have no idea what you're talking about, Claire. No comment.
Appreciate your time.
Guys, this has been the Spa Grand Prix episode. If you guys liked it, go ahead and smash that subscribe button. It helps me. I appreciate you guys. Maybe hit a like button every now and then. But anyways, you guys are the best. On to the post-race highlights.